We've got nothing but blocked field goals. We've got backup quarterbacks who are looking like they've resurged their career at the Minnesota Vikings again. We have a weird start to a week 3. So I want to join everybody in celebrating the fact that we as Lions fans get to play Monday Night Football. So it's going to be a weird kind of closure to this week. I didn't even have a second to really kind of pick my winners and losers of this week. I started watching these games. You know, as a Lions fan, you don't have to really get too involved emotionally in Sunday. I don't know, it was kind of cool watching it from afar, not having to really get emotionally involved in some of the games. I enjoyed it. Let me know if you're here in the chat. I just want to say what's up. I am live right now, getting everything set up. I think everything's working. No, I do not want to chat with support. This software's silly. But anyways, I just want to say thanks. I want everybody to make sure, if you're watching right now, to hit subscribe. That is something we're really pushing for, trying to get up to 500 subscribers. We're about halfway there, so smash that button. You guys did a really good job this past week. Your favorite troll is here. That is the do. Hey, look at that. Your Bears did really good today. They took apart a team on a major descent into financial dismay. And, you know, I think we could do a whole entire episode on what the Dallas Cowboys are going to look like when Jerry Jones is no longer there, no longer with us, right? I mean, he's in his mid-80s. The chances of him living to 158 are, well, it's pretty damn good chances, actually. But I really seriously want to think about this. Like, the guy's pretty old. There's a good damn chance that he's going to, at some point, have to walk away for health reasons, right? But this team sucks, dude. That Cowboys team, for how much money everybody's put onto that roster. CeeDee Lamb is an awesome wide receiver, but outside of that, dude, sell those pieces off. He says, oh, thanks, yeah, my Cowboys didn't. They stopped being my Cowboys in 1993, 94. But yeah, that's hopefully a real organization. I do want to give Ben Johnson a shout out. He did a really nice job rebounding from that ass kicking that Dan Campbell gave him, which I think we all knew he would. He is a good coach. I just think that Chicago team is going to be a rough team to build what I think he's capable of building. You know, it's going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to play the Dallas Cowboys every week, right? And I'm not going to get into the Chicago Bears schedule, but I know their schedule is going to be obviously looking at us again, looking at the Packers again. There's some bigger teams on there. This is going to be a rough season. They did pick apart the Dallas Cowboys nicely, so I thought that was really cool because Ben Johnson, he's not a coach who doesn't try, right? A lot of these coaches come in and there are a lot of talk and there's no effort into it. Ben Johnson is a good coach, right? So 31-14 smacks them right in the mouth. And it looked like a 31-14. Actually, it kind of looked like a 31-3 game the way that they played. Pulling up some stats real quick. We got Caleb Williams having a pretty nice game. He had for 19 of 28 for 298 yards and 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 0 sacks. Looks like a phenomenal quarterback, right? But that's one game for Caleb. Really nice. Cowboys, Mr. Dak Prescott, 31 of 40. Just guns the shit out of this thing. 51 meaningless yards for 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and 2 sacks, right? Joe Milton was out there, 3 for 541, 1 interception. Good old Joel out there for an interception. But, man, dude, the Dallas Cowboys, I just don't understand what people see in this team. And, you know, the main networks are going to spend the next day and a half talking to you guys about the Dallas Cowboys, right? And I know, guys, that you know, my friends are some of these people that are in this chat. I know you're going to be watching this content. That's why you don't watch that crap, because we're not going to sit there and talk about the Dallas Cowboys as we're already 8 minutes in. But needless to say, pretty cool outing for Ben Johnson. I really enjoyed seeing that. And then we got, the dude says, the Pack is the only team in the division that worries me. Yeah, my friend, you and I agree on something else again. They do. But let's get to that game. I'm glad you brought that up. Why do I think I'm not worried about this is because they just got done playing the Cleveland Browns, which I'm not going to ever laugh about the Cleveland Browns because their defensive coordinator is Jim Schwartz. And For everything he didn't accomplish here, I still like Jim Schwartz, right? And I think he's a phenomenal coach or a phenomenal defensive coordinator. That's really what got him to be here on the Lions. So pulling it up right here, Green Bay 10, Cleveland Browns 13, right? All defensive game right here. Pulling up some stats, we've got Jordan Love. Now, this is what I want us to pay attention to. 18 of 25 for 183 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 5 sacks, right? Jordan Love is a good quarterback. We beat them when we sack Jordan Love 5 times, right? That's what the Cleveland Browns did. Now, the Cleveland Browns went and played the Ravens last week and got whooped on them because the Cleveland Browns defense doesn't have an answer for Lamar. We'll talk about that with the Lions way down. We'll talk, kind of even want to talk about the Lions right now, but that's really the key to that, right? So it's kind of one-dimensional, essentially, in attacking the Packers. If you can get to Jordan Love, if you have a really aggressive, nasty pass rush, you can contain this Packers offense, right? It's just when you're giving this guy time in the pocket and you're allowing the wide receivers to break free and you're allowing everybody to do what that kind of offense is set to do, then you're going to see what we saw. So kind of something to think about. Your comment, you're right. They are a legit team, but, there is another team in our division that they have a great roster, right? And we really were worried about their look on their quarterback play. And with JJ McCarthy, I think we weren't really too worried as Lions fans. But look at this, dude. 48-10 against the Bengals. Now I know this is the matchup of the back-to-back or the backup quarterbacks, right? Jake Browning, 19 of 27, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 3 sacks. Jake Browning is a big difference from Carson Wentz. Now, I know they're both backups, but Wentz has been to the tier, to the Super Bowl. He's won the game. We don't have to go into that. But again, he has Carson Wentz type numbers, 14 of 20, 173 yards. He has 2 touchdowns, and he's got sacked 3 times, right? So the key to this is Minnesota. I'm sorry. I kind of have this thought process now where it's like, okay, is this the Kevin Stefanski I like to run my offense with veteran quarterbacks over trying to give me a JJ McCarthy or a young quarterback to kind of raise and put in a system? Is that kind of just what suits Kevin Stefanski more? Something to think about, but those are some big games that kind of caught my attention. All right, so the Deuce says the Pack is the only team in the division that worries me. I read that. I'm sorry. We got saw some of that game. Browns D is legit. Yeah, so you kind of have to agree with me. I think you're like 3 for 3 on agreeing with me that that Browns D is legit. And again, it's. I'm not saying that we are that type of defense, but we're built like that Browns defense. Heavy pass rush attack, big boys. The Bengals have worst D in the league and no Burrow. Yeah, but dude, didn't they just sign Hendrickson or make a big play for him? And do they really have the worst defense? I'm not proclaiming to be a Bengals fan up and down, but let's see who they have on their defense. Yeah, I guess no one really sticks out as somebody who's a monster. Trey Hendrickson, right? Somebody we all allotted for and wanted. The hell is he? Non-existent on this team anymore? Did they get rid of him? Is he injured? Sorry, again, I'm not a Bengals expert, but all I'm saying is don't count Minnesota out, right? We saw what they did with Sam Darnold last year and how annoying they are. So just don't count them out. Hey, the doctor's in. What up, Doe? I love it. Now he's checking into his East Side attitude. What up, Doe? How are you on your fishing trip? Have you departed yet? Or are you still lingering around? All right, so Bengals bottom 5 defense. Thank you for checking on that for me. I mean, they're playing like a bottom 5 defense, clearly. But prior to this, they're 2-0. So gets me thinking, if you're a Bengals fan, do you just want to see them melt it down kind of like we did with the Lions? Trade away Joe Burrow, trade away Jamar Chase, because that's like you got your Burrows and Chase. You're wasting it just like we wasted Stafford Calvin. Now Hendrickson would be kind of like your Sue, your big pass rusher that you're in love with. But I don't really know as a fan base how much they are in love with him. He could come over to Detroit all day. Well, to me, an interesting team to watch. We've already picked DJ Reader from them. We'll think about kind of keeping an eyeball on that team right now. So now the Do says, hey, look at this. He's doing pretty good today. he got his W. Now, for those of you who don't know, he is a Buccaneers fan. Man, I'll tell you what, I really, really thought about you today. This game was strange. So the Bucs, I think, are a much better team than the Jets. But I'm also sitting here going, yeah, this is Aaron Glenn, though. He's a great coach, right? And I'm really rooting for him as a coach. But again, why did you pick the Jets organization, dude? It's a stupid, farty organization. Just why did you pick the Jets, right? Like, I can understand a little bit more why Ben Johnson picked the Bears in the division over him with over Aaron Glenn with the Jets. Anyways, talk about a blocked field goal. This was a game that included a blocked field goal, and I'm actually pretty shocked that there already hasn't been a T-shirt of Aaron Glenn sidestepping down the sideline. So I don't have all the credentials to play all the highlights, and who really gives a shit at this point? We're just talking about it, but take a look at it. It's pretty funny. But here you go. You've got a game that the Bucs should have easily won, right? But they didn't. It came down to a field goal at the last 3 seconds that, and I will give your kicker credit, he kicked it with so much ferocity of like, I'm pissed, get this game over with. Oh my God, what is wrong? They did not play like the Buccaneers that I expected. I actually like this team. I think Baker's found his home. They're missing that next level, which why I'm kind of excited to play them for Monday Night Football. But I think they're still, even with Mike Evans and Godwin and some of their defensive foes, I still think they're missing that culture burst. They're lacking just a little bit of energy, and maybe it's their coach. I don't know. But 29-27, they get away with it. We have the doctor says penalties were insane today. Doctor in the do. Oh my God. I love how both of you guys are on here. Mike Evans got hurt. Oh, did he? I didn't even see that. So that sucks, man. I like Mike Evans as a player. I really do. Scary threat when he's healthy. But as he's getting older, when you're that big and strong and people are going after you, I know as a Lions fan with Calvin, it's hard to stay healthy. So he had 33 yards and a touchdown. Dude, Baker, 44 yards. You lacked a running game today, that's for sure. 19-29 and a touchdown. I think I like Bleacher Report better than NFL.com. Just from a stat standpoint, it looks a little bit more pleasing just to go over the games. You tell me. He's getting old. Yeah, he is getting old, but he's still really strong and he's really healthy. And they can definitely keep they can keep him healthy throughout the season by giving Baker some weapons, right? Because there's still a lot of Mike Evans to play. All right, here we go. I just like this look a little bit better. Weird. Tyrod Taylor, dude. Okay, so I guess I got to give Aaron Glenn a little bit of credit. He's doing this with Tyrod Taylor, who was 26-36, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. Really respectable numbers for Mr. Taylor. He seems like that weird quarterback that kind of like a Teddy Bridgewater, right? Kind of like that journeyman quarterback that's just that everybody roots for. I don't really have anything bad to say about Tyrod Taylor. Garrett Wilson, I feel like he could be so much more if he had a legitimate offense that he was going to be a part of. But as long as he's part of this Jets offense, he's not going to be shit. So this is kind of an interesting game. Well, I don't know if you hopped on. Maybe I should play this, but I was even talking about how he was high stepping, how it should already be a shirt. Hold on. I'm going to bring that up. It's pretty crazy to see these blocked field goals now. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. All right. So I'm going to show right now. We're going to show up Jets block field goal kick. This is awesome. I was watching this as it just happened, and I actually thought about you. Ooh, that was a nice block field goal, dude. That's like a Madden cheat code block field goal. Here it is. There's the Aaron Glenn I missed. Come on, show it. There it is. There it is. There it is. Look at him go. He's a great coach, man. Tell me you're not rooting for him, guys. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. Whether you're a Bucs fan, whether you're a Lions fan, whether you're a Bears fan, whether you're too afraid to pick a team and you just kind of bandwagon the shit out of things. This is a pretty cool, like I said, Madden cheat code block field goal kick. Pretty impressive. I am not going to lie. I'm never going to not miss Aaron Glenn as a coach. I thought he was a big asset to setting the culture and kind of, now I'm starting to see how Jim Harbaugh created the culture in Michigan, how Dan did it with some of his key pieces, right? We're seeing it with, what's his face, Porgy. Dude, that guy's awesome. And I can see he was brought in to just help set the culture and recruit. And that's kind of what I think Aaron Glenn was brought into Detroit to do with Dan Campbell. And I really don't think the defensive structure was going to be there, right? And then Aaron Glenn really was more of just like really part of like jump starting that culture. And that's how you can see that with that jump kick. So yeah, Doc says he's a funny guy. You can't hate on him. And I know you just played him this week, but outside of that, I don't know. I don't really have much hate for the Jets organization. They've never been that organization that's really pissed me off. If like they're doing good, I'm not rooting against them. They're never annoying to me because I don't really think they're ever consistently doing good. So let's see. We've got some other stuff I want to really get to. Look at this. New Orleans, Seattle. Now, I didn't get to watch this game, but this is another one that was an absolute slobber knocker. Now, New Orleans, I'm not really sure what and who you're tanking for, but you don't have a football team. So it's really going to be interesting to see what you do with some of the assets you do have, because you just got beat by the Seattle Seahawks, who I should say the Darnold-led Seattle Seahawks. Now this is what I'm talking about when you have Sam Darnold as your quarterback and you put up 44 points. He gives you 14 of 18 for 218 of 2 touchdowns. He gives you generic, milky, white boy high school quarterback football. That's all he's going to give me, right? Now, when it comes to rushing, it was nice to see Kenneth Walker throw up some touchdowns, but this really comes down to the defense, that Mike McDonald continues to always be an ace in the hole at building. We're talking sack machines. We're talking nasty tackling. I kind of wish he was still back at Michigan. They definitely need him. But yeah, this was just one of those games where if you're a Saints fan and you're looking at Spencer Rattler, 28 of 39, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 2 sacks, you can't be happy that that's who you have out there. And Alvin Kamara, you're wasting away the last couple of years of your career. Olave, how have you not been desperately calling for a trade? And Mr. Cooks, you are always the trade speculation. You land in New Orleans, get the fuck out. That's a garbage team. And I don't even want to say you're tanking for Arch, because he doesn't look to be NFL ready right now. But everybody does what they want nowadays, and they're going to probably make stupid decisions. So it is what it is. Let's see. Big surprise, the doc says, is the Falcons going down that hard. Yeah, that was a huge surprise to me as well. I mean, dude, you're playing Carolina and you put up a nothing burger. Talk about a franchise that was at the peak Matt Ryan, super hardcore hitting defense, and now you can't seem to find a coach you like. Michael Penix, I'm sorry, guys, he's not a NFL-ready quarterback. 18 of 36, 2 interceptions. Kirk Cousins, they put his haircut ass out there, and he's 5 for 7. Again, milky-ass generic football. Bijan Robinson, sorry that you got drafted by a garbage team. They're wasting away your best years already. Don't tell me he's better than Jahmyr Gibbs. But then you've got the Panthers, which, hey, look at this. You put up 30 on the Falcons, and your boy is 16 to 24, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Just play some average quarterbacking, right? So that he can go out there and have the run game be kind of part of his element, right? So either way, the Carolina Panthers come to figure this out some which way or the other. You talk about a real shitbag team with nobody on this roster. That's your Carolina Panthers. Sorry. So interesting week, though. Haven't even gotten to some of the bigger name games, right? You've got the Houston Texans looking to be an absolute dumpster fire. They're really fall from grace when you're getting beat by the Jaguars, who already you see the head coach and the quarterback disliking each other in a large fashion. CJ Stroud, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, throws up 209. or I'm sorry, he throws up 204. Not a real, I would say, a dismal running game, hence the 10 points. A team that once was seems to look like it's falling to nothing. You've got the Jaguars. I don't really care what you do with this team. I think it's kind of just meltdown time for the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, you still win, but you put up shitbag numbers, right? Time to get rid of this Clemson team that you tried to put together professionally and move on. Cool. Travis Hunter, what'd you do? You out there dancing today? 2 targets, 1 reception for 16 or 21 yards. Sweet. What did your badass do on the defensive side? Nothing? Awesome. So that's what I'm talking about, right? This is just one of those teams that if I was in charge of that roster, I'd already be just hitting that meltdown button. A game that a lot of people weren't sure what was going to happen here with Chargers and Denver and the Broncos, 23-20. I really think this Chargers team is something to get behind right now. Hardball is the right answer for Herbert. 1 touchdown, 1 INT, respectful numbers. I think this guy is going to always be with the right coach and the right staff propelling him to greatness. He's on his way. So I'm a big Herbert fan. Bo Nix, not too shabby himself. He's got a nice little cast behind him, but they're probably a year or two behind the Chargers. So that was kind of why this was going to be an interesting thing to see. The Doc says Harbaugh definitely has something going on down there. Doc, he's had something going on everywhere he goes. That's what he does. He builds winning cultures. It's just, can that team, can that city, can wherever he's at, can they handle him, right? Because he comes with a lot. And I don't say negative, he just comes with a lot of heat because he goes full force. And the one thing he isn't is he doesn't cowtail and he doesn't play the game. He plays his game, which pisses people off, but he wins, right? So he doesn't play the Nick Saban game where he lets them be. He hated the NCAA and they hated him so much, right? So he doesn't play the game where he's like, I'm going to win and we're going to play this nice game. Dude, he is just going to be relentlessly Jim Harbaugh. And even the NFL had to kind of say and see that he was winning in college and say, okay, shit, man, dude, this guy builds teams. Let's let him come back, because let's face it, dude, I don't care what he's doing, whether he's building a pack of, he could probably build the best shuffleboard team at a retirement home, right? It's just what he does. He recruits. His brother doesn't have that pizzazz that he has, but his brother also is that kind of cooler guy. That probably the Harbaugh that you wanted to hang out with was John when you were growing up, because Jim just got overly annoying over time. Dude, Jim is a hell of a guy. Arizona, San Francisco. Another perplexing team. 49ers are 3-0. They just barely beat Arizona by 1 point, 16-15. The Cardinals, Kyler Murray, who I have a big disdain for. Mediocre numbers as usual. Mac Jones, because he's replacing our boy Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. 27-41, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. I mean, as long as you have Christian McCaffrey and Kyle Shanahan has, a somewhat of his defense behind him and he can run his offense, he doesn't need a starting caliber quarterback. But man, it's just one of those teams where the 49ers are so hard to call as a 3-0 team. I could care less about the Arizona Cardinals. Truthfully, I think they should be the first ones to get kicked out of the league. They're just, if you're going to put a team somewhere else, take it away from Arizona. Don't try to put a new team somewhere else. Get rid of Arizona first. Washington, Vegas, holy crap. The Raiders are 1-2 with Pete Carroll. I don't know why they saw this coming. Las Vegas just needs to pick a destination and stick with it. Just figure out, don't worry about overpaying for coaches. I don't think moving on from their previous coach was the right decision, because it hasn't garnered them any type of success. You're 1-2. Geno Smith, who you're paying some good money to, he's putting up big numbers, but you're far from just Geno Smith. You're far from just Gentry. You need a whole squad over here, right? Washington, hey, I think that's a well-coached organization now that the ownership has changed. Marcus Mariota comes in and leads them to a 41-24 win. Right now, this was obviously a game that was won on the ground, but that's what you're going to get when Marcus Mariota is your quarterback. Liked him in college. Glad to see him winning in the NFL at a longer age, longer on in his career. But Washington's always going to be a good organization. We got to keep an eye on them, even though their franchise quarterback is hurt right now. But again, not a team I'm super, super nervous about, right? Only teams I'm really, that I'm going to give credit to credit due are like Philadelphia, dude, and LA, right? So we know if as long as Matt Stafford is behind the helmet quarterback in LA, he's got a chance to win a Super Bowl. That's kind of the caveat with that trade. Once I think you break that apart, I think Sean McVay loses his superpowers, and I think the whole thing just kind of unravels. And then the Rams maybe go back to St. Louis. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Matt Stafford, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, not good enough, even though we do have a blocked kick in this game. But we got the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, 3 touchdowns. Pains me to say it, man, but this is just such a good team. Saquon really wasn't a big focal point, although they did try to have him rush for 18 attempts. Only 46 yards, though. Then you've got Jalen, another big 40 yards from him. So, that's kind of one of those teams. Why they scare me, they have a mobile quarterback, something our Lions are about to see real soon. So if you don't have an answer for him, you're kind of screwed. You got Philly's blocked field goal kick. This one was super, super cool. It's really hard to pick which one you like better. The one before, I think, was a little bit more, like I said, Madden cheat code. And this one is just, I guess, really well-coached special teams. And I guess they all are, but, like, this one is just so Eagles-like at a moment, right, where they just kind of have to set the tone. No thanks. I don't want any offers from the Eagles. All right, let's let this buffer. There we go. Just swarms it. Jordan Davis, dude, he's nasty, right? That's kind of what their defense is, just a defense that we love to emulate here in Lions Nation. But 26-27, look at him come right over the middle. Slaps them bear paws down on it. Comes right out of his hands, scoops it up for the touchdown. Man, he's fast. Dude is fast. So another blocked field goal kick. It's one of those games, too, where, when you're trying to be 3-0, like the Eagles are right now, and a few teams, the longer you go on this winning streak, the harder that first win, it kind of hurts, right? So not to say that I'm glad we already have a win or a loss, that sounds stupid, but it also takes that edge off right now, because if you're a team like the Eagles or a big franchise and you're 3-0, it's really on you right now. And they look like they're up for the challenge. And the thing with me is LA, I'm not counting them out because they're always a scrappy team. I don't really ever think they're going to have a season ever where they're just going to be dedicated on point money like they were when they first made that trade for Stafford. Now they're always going to be that wild card, nasty, fight, really annoy the shit out of you team. And here is something, 2 franchises that I don't know what the hell they've done in the last 10 years. They used to have respectable teams for the longest time, but the Colts and the Titans, 41-20. You got Danny Dimes out here looking like a G, 18-25, 228 yards, 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor finally 102 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's looking like that stud that we all thought we were going to see. Cam Ward, I like you, dude. I think you're going to be a really nice quarterback, but your squad, where you guys are at as a team, you have time to grow. So I'm going to give you that credit. You're still putting up respectful numbers, though. But yeah, they all went out, drafts Indiana, or Indiana goes out and gets Mr. Big Anthony Richardson, and he's not even a part of this team right now, right? Obviously, you saw that it's Danny Jones. So it's Danny Dimes. He's a part of it. He thought his career was over after New York kicked him to the curb. And as we can see, he's doing pretty decent in Indy. Never disliked the guy. I'm happy for him. And then you've got Pittsburgh, New England. Oh, Jesus Christ. You've got Aaron Rodgers just putting up decent numbers, 16-23, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's healthy. Of course, he's going to put up decent numbers, right? And the Pittsburgh Steelers are a decent team. So nothing really to write home about. You beat the Patriots. Drake May, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'm not too worried about you. Thank you, sir. Nice breakdown tonight. He says, got a boogie. Be safe. Stay fizzy. I will. You enjoy your time. You be safe. I would like some salmon, please, because I shall smoke it. Yeah, enjoy yourself, brother. Appreciate you hopping on. Same thing with the Dew. Appreciate you hopping on, man. Just going to kind of finalize this real quick, and then we can get back to some Sunday night football. I don't really think New England's going to be a team we have to worry about until Tom Brady decides that he wants to come back at 52 and win a Super Bowl. I really don't. I'm sorry. So they were nothing before him and Bledsoe got there. I think that's kind of where they're heading back to go. Now we've got Kansas City and the New York Giants right now, right? We're live in the first quarter, Sunday Night Football, live on NBC. Who cares about NBC? They suck. Bunch of perverts. This is going to be an 0-2 and an 0-2 team, the battle of the 0-2s. Okay, so Kansas City, I said it last week, there's no way that they're going to go 0-2. When you go 0-2, there's like a 12% chance you make the playoffs. Well, we know the New York Giants aren't going to make the playoffs, but I assure you that the Kansas City Chiefs will. So this is just one of those games where I don't see the Chiefs losing. I don't know, call me freaking crazy. Does anybody out there see the Chiefs losing this game tonight? You're playing the New York Giants that are led by Russell Wilson, who had a really good game last week where they didn't win. So you're in New York, and as soon as you do shit like that and you're already Russell Wilson, the pressure's on, and you're in prime time right now. So to me, this is one of those games where Kansas City and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and the boys put up maybe 42-3 on New York and shut the world down and say, okay, if there's any team that's going to go against the grain and win a Super Bowl or try to after starting 0-2, it's going to be us. And we're going to make a statement where this game's going to be a statement game right now. So that's kind of what I think this game's going to be. All right. With that being said, I want to thank everybody. We've had some great success. I want to thank Hermdo. I hope you're getting better today. He's put out some awesome videos the last couple days with his breakdown of the Red Wings, breakdown of the Tigers collapse. If you want my personal opinion, quickly before I go, I think the Tigers are garbage. I think they're going to be lucky if they win a game. It, to me, guys, this is a product of having a really good coach, a really good farm system, a really good roster, but not having primetime level superstars, right? And I said it before, this is why you need somebody hitting over 300. You just do. You need bats, right? You can't just have Riley Green. You have to have someone protecting him all season. Top on each sides of Riley Green, right? Or else you're just going to get these guys shut down. You're looking at these numbers right now, and you're telling me that this is a roster that you're going to send out there. And even if you tell me, okay, who gives a shit, you're going to make the wild card, why does it make a difference? Look at this roster we have. Parker Meadows, granted, he just came back, but he just came back and you're hitting 221, right? Jones, you're hitting 286. You're not an everyday player. Torres, I like the Torres signing, and I really hope he comes back. He's hitting 261. Probably could be hitting a little bit better if there was a bigger bat around him. Kerry Carpenter, my man, you're always hurt, but seriously, you're hitting 258. You're also you got to be a part of the everyday lineup. You got to be healthy. Riley, you're hitting 259. That average is so shitty for who you are. Spencer Torkelson, when you're hitting nothing burgers, that average sucks because you're here for power, right? But look at this. Perez, 248. Dingler, I love Dylan Dingler. I have nothing bad to say about Dylan Dinkler as a catcher. You're hitting 278. I think it's great. Your arm is phenomenal. McKinstry, you're a great utility player, but why are we sending our utility players to the All-Star game? Javi Baez, 249. When you're gone, I'm not going to miss you because your contract sucks, and it's cool that you had some fun and all played all these different positions, but that's not a World Series team. Right? I like all these guys that we have, but we're missing two big bats, two big, consistent, scary bats in that lineup, right? To even get to the World Series. I don't really care about getting into a wild card race, and I just don't see with where this team is headed. I just don't see shit happening. I don't know, call me crazy, but when you go from 15 games up to, I don't even know what you are now, a third of a game up in the division. Let's see. MLB rankings. Okay, so right now, the Tigers are a game up, a game ahead of the Guardians. Okay, so the Guardians just lost today. And you can thank the shitbag Twins for making that happen. So now we're a game above the Guardians, right? But, that's what bothers me. When you let that league just fucking collapse like that, it doesn't give me that confidence, right? God, look at the National League East. Phillies have 12 games up on the Mets, who have Juan Soto and Pete Alonso, right? That's a big, dude, that's a tough division. The Braves are 19. Yeah, that's tough. Look at the National League. That's a tough one too. Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks, Giants, Rockies. So I don't know. So what would it be like today? So right now, who's in? The Brewers clinched the season first playoff spot for a second consecutive year on September 13th with the Mets loss to the Texans. Okay, we don't give a shit about National League. Oh, I guess we do give a shit about the National League. Let's see. Sorry, I'm scrolling really fast, but basically, so the Brewers are in, the Phillies are in, the Cubs are in, the Dodgers are in, and the Blue Jays are in. So the AL is still kind of wide open besides that. So American League wild card round right now, Guardians at Tigers, Red Sox at Yankees. AL DLS, it's Guardians, Tigers versus Mariners, Red Sox, Yankees. See, this is to me, dude, when you're looking at it right now, I don't really get that warm feeling, right? Guardians, Tigers, they have our number right now. Red Sox, Yankees, Mariners. Anyways, I'm not going to get down too much on this baseball shit. I'm going to go back to watching some Sunday Night Football. Again, I want to thank everybody. I want you to subscribe. Thank you guys for hopping in the chat. And to all of you that pretend you're too busy to hop into the chat, I laugh. I do. I laugh. Ha 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 ha. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll be back on for the Monday Night Football game. We'll be doing a pregame live an hour before kickoff, and then it'll be late, but hopping on after to see what the instant reaction is. Lions, Ravens, that's going to be a hell of a game. One Pride. Peace.
I thought you said I was all right, Spider. So...
No, you ain't all right, Spider. You got a lot of fucking problems.
No, I thought you said you were all right.